if an illegal couple comes over here and they have a baby, the baby becomes a citizen. And if that's not an oxymoron, I mean, what makes sense?
You know, talking about birthright citizenship, a couple or just a woman with a child comes into this country and delivers that child. Now that child is a citizen by virtue of the geography of their birth, and then of course the parents have some rights as parents of a citizen. We've got to end that. Again, there's nowhere in the Constitution that it says that that's the case. It says that the Congress has the power to regulate immigration. And my God, they've fallen down on the job. Look at Arizona. The state responded because the federal government has done nothing. And Republicans and Democrats alike are responsible there because everybody is so concerned about the political implications of, you know, the immigration issue. I say, well, do the right thing and let the politics take care of itself. So ending birthright citizenship is, I think, a practice that we can do immediately. I think we also have to make English the official language of the United States. I mean, why shouldn't it be? I don't want to end up like Canada, where you're driving and you got 2 or 3, you know, in the Rochester schools, and Farmington schools, and Bloomfield, we have 80 different languages spoken. They're now talking about putting ballots on the election ballots in Spanish. Where will it stop? Next it'll be Farsi and God knows what. So we need to be very concerned about this issue, but we also need to have the will to do what's right, and that's sort of for me. Sue, did you have a question?
I was just going to say what she said. I follow politics very closely and always have, and I've never heard of a czar until Obama, and I've never heard of Al-Qaeda until 9/11. Never
Well, the only czar I knew was Nicholas II, and he, you know, and look what happened to him. Did you have a question in the back?
Yeah, going back to the oil issue.
Yes.
There's a huge oil reserve up in South Dakota, and it's the Bakken, B-A-K-K-E-N, or Bakken.
Bakken.
Bakken. And why isn't it that we can't tap some of that oil?
Well, as I understand, it's an oil shale field, which is a little bit different than a traditional oil. It takes a certain type of extraction process, but it's a huge reserve, one that you would think that the United States could develop and master the technology so that we can take advantage of it. I mean, we have resources here. We've put ourselves in the way of getting into our own resources, and what happens? We become more reliant on what happens overseas, with the Saudis and everybody else. And so, yes, we've got to say, what do we have to do to take care of ourselves first?
This gentleman here is too kind to the environmentalists. I'll be honest with you, I was a big fan of that back in the 60s, and I now loathe it. When we become a third world nation, it will be because of the environmentalists. I'll tell you how bad it is. That Bakken field and the new ones they just discovered not in the shallow waters off the north end of the Gulf of Mexico, we have more proven reserves in this country than the rest of the world. And we can't get to it because 20% of rabid people have kept the 80% of us from having that. And you got to understand the economics of that. The reason this country flourished is because we learned very early in the 19th century how to turn things into commodities and cheapen the price and bring the price of things like steel and oil and heat and electricity down. So this country flourished. There are German countries that would come over here right away if they could get a few things resolved, but if we get cap and trade, we will become the highest priced place in the world to do business, and we will be in the next depression for another 20 years. Mr. Lafferty is already predicting, because of all the taxes that are going to take place on the 1st of January, this, I think, our rather fragile economy is going to tank.
Well, even if you look down on the economy, I mean, housing starts are down farther than they've been since they reported them, and that 1 month was last month. Retail sales have also gone south. We're in a very fragile economic state, there's no question about it. As far as the environment is concerned, look, I love the environment. I love to hunt, I love to fish, I love to get out. I used to camp years ago. And so you are not, because you want to see our economy grow, because you want to do the things necessary to put people to work, to get a decent wage, it doesn't mean you're against the environment. We've got to strike a balance, and the balance has gone way over to the other side. And that's a concern that we have to be ready to address, without question. do want to talk just a little bit about the healthcare bill. I know that's been on a lot of people's mind. It's an issue that is not over. A lot of people think, oh my gosh, this is over, but it's not. We talked a little bit about unfunding those boards and commissions, or defunding or not funding, not letting them get off the ground. But I do think that there are, if, again, depending on how this election goes, we can pull together reasonable people from both sides of the aisle and focus on the central issues. Those issues really involve access to the individual insurance market and finding ways to contain cost. If we'd have done that from the front end, we would have been able to build a bipartisan consensus the American people have brought in. I don't believe that you can have this kind of sweeping change literally 1/5 of the economy at its core on one party or the other. I mean, just like Social Security and others, you've got to have consensus. The country has to be with you, and it takes leadership to get that done. But as far as healthcare is concerned, if we focused on giving people the resources they need through tax credits, should they enter the individual insurance market, now you've given them something to work with. Today, if you are employed, for the most part, you get your insurance through your employer. And that employer pays for the health care with pre-tax dollars. But if you're unemployed, you're in COBRA, you're trying to start your own small business, you're not working for a corporation, you've got to pay with after-tax dollars. So you're already at a disadvantage. Ask anybody who's had to go on a COBRA situation and say, my gosh, I didn't realize it was so expensive.
You can't afford it. I don't have any insurance right now because I could not afford COBRA.
Right.
Because it was like $650 a month.
Right, but if we said we're going to give you a tax credit based on your income, I don't think we can give tax credits to multimillionaires, but most people in this situation can use that tax credit to go in and to start to shop for insurance.
I would do it.
Of course you would. And if we also said you could buy insurance anywhere in this country, then guess what? Now we've got plans from one coast to the other, competing with each other for your business. And instead of the limited choices you have in the state of Michigan, now you find a plan in Delaware or Kentucky or God knows where that suits your needs, because your family's needs are different than my family's needs. And you want to find a plan that works for you. The cost will be different. If we did that, that would add competitive pressure that doesn't exist now. Right now, we've got a system with a third-party payer system. And, I don't have any responsibility to pay for it. They want another test, sure, order a test, let's do this, let's do that. Until you have some ownership of the decisions you make with your money and your health, you're always